I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast that asks the question, are Sentinels bad or good?
They seem bad.
They seem bad. 99.99% of them have seemed very bad. But this is going to be the issue that explores it. How are you doing, Gary?
I'm doing pretty well. Just took a mouthful of Doritos.
Okay.
You know?
Super cool.
I took them like I took a dose.
Is this your first podcast or second?
This is my third podcast. Did you say it was my first podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because I Dorito faced myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right before talking.
Mm-hmm. Amateur.
I needed the Doritos more than I needed to sound like a professional. I was hungry.
This isn't WAF.
Dorito action.
You don't have to be professional on this one.
No. That's the beauty of Duckfeed is that all the professionalism goes into one show that makes us money, and then all the other shows we do what we want.
Yeah,
it's pretty great.
Austin Walker doesn't listen to this one. You can chew some food if you need to. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Enjoying these series of comic books that we're doing this session. We're on Avengers Academy 32, which the last time we read Avengers Academy, we both kind of assumed that after all of the X-Kids left all of the Avengers kids, there would be nothing left to really do in this issue. But instead, we get kind of a cool, interesting issue. And I'm kind of here for this. I think this is good.
Didn't the next time it said like the cover for the next one of this was not this? It was like Who Killed Jocasta, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little tiny reference to that in this, but it was real false advertising because that made me think we were moving on to a murder mystery about Hank Pym's weird robot ugly girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, but no.
Instead, it's going to be about Justin and his pet Sentinel. And the cover is could be just almost be any Phoenix. Like this could be the only difference between this person.
It's not Cyclops.
Is just the blonde hair. But like this is Emma Frost, but this could just be Jean Grey or Hope or Rachel or whatever. Like it looks exactly. Yeah.
Smashing some Sentinels.
Yep.
And this is going to be our first in this podcast, our first like showing really of what the X-Men have been doing with their powers.
Yes. And we're going to start off with Justin and his pet Sentinel, who is doing some repairs after the last fight, and who shows up but Laura, aka X-23, who is there to kill the Sentinel because Sentinels are bad. And there's this is going to set the stage for this ongoing question throughout this issue of is it okay to kill the Sentinel? And the Sentinel doesn't help himself in this at all because, like, as Laura's making the point, like they're built to exterminate us. You know, and the Justin, no, I reprogrammed him. Like, you know, the Sentinel's just going to jump up and say, destroy all mutants at every single opportunity it can. So,
yeah, and that's been the joke of the original Sentinel series, and they've done that a couple times here. But they kind of examine it here, where Laura's like, okay, can I ask it a question? And he's, Sentinel, what's your prime directive? He says, will not abandon Justin, no matter what. And Justin's like, see? And she's like, no, continue listing all your directives. And, protect Justin, protect all life, don't harm living beings, except for to protect things, defend myself, and apprehend and destroy all mutants.
Yes.
He can't get rid of it. And Justin's like, I can't erase that. It's part of his base code. What I did was I made things that would follow in priority of that to make him so he never gets down to that function line, basically.
Yes.
I could totally format him and get him to to not do that, but it would erase his personality. And she's like, yeah, you should do that. It's a big mutant killing weapon.
Just do that immediately. And he's like, no, but he's my friend. And then of course she's responded like, it's not a friend, it's a machine that's programmed to kill. And he turns that right back and is like, you were too. Like you're exactly the same thing, and we're still accepting you. And this is what the school was made for, was to give people a second chance. Like, who else fits that besides this, machine only designed for machine organism only designed for killing
mutants. Modicum.
The
White Tiger shows up. As I assume this character's name is. I can't remember. I don't know this character very well. It's young. She's young apparently. I don't know. I thought she was older, like an Avenger, but she shows up and she's like, "Hey, are you talking to Justin? Do you mind if I ask him out?" They do some teen drama stuff about this, and he's just like, "Yeah." it's mostly, I talked to him about killing his Sentinel, and she's like, well, yeah, to him it's a pet though. Have you ever had a pet? And she tells this story about how in the torture facility she grew up in, they gave her a dog, made her get attached to it, and then made her kill the dog.
Jesus Christ.
Which horrible.
And the real reason I laugh at that is because I feel like it's just been such a staple. Like, it's horrible. It's horrifying, and nobody should have to go through it. And it's obviously going to like color Laura's decision throughout the rest of this issue. But also at the same, I've seen it so much in media now that I have like no instant reaction to it. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, that poor puppy. I'm just like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like,
this is how you establish people are Black Widows.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that she goes to go talk to Hank Pym, and he's just chilling in giant mode.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you think he does that when anyone comes and talks to him?
Wouldn't you?
Like, just,
I mean,
yeah, dude.
If you're coming to my house, like my giant man house, I am in giant mode all of the time. I'm sorry. Like,
and the furniture is like that. Like, you need an elevator to get up to the couch.
It sucks that you have to jump to open a door, to hit that doorknob. It sucks for you, but for me, it's great. This is my natural form. This is my natural beauty. I'm hydrated. I'm giantated. Yeah. I'm vaccinated.
It feels good. I'm ready to party. I'm big and proud, and I vote. So they're talking about this as well, and he says, "Hey, I wanted to discuss the X-Men situation," and we get these news reports about what the X-Men have been doing, and it's terraforming the world. Yep. Like, they're spreading utopia to the entire world.
Mainly by outlawing war. So the thing that's happening in the background is they're in Serbia, where they have established massive crop domes to feed the world. There's reports of them demolishing and annihilating all of anybody's weapons everywhere. So there's no, basically just quelling violence and trying to bring peace to Earth.
Yeah. The melting all the Sentinels down. Emma Frost, that's her specific job. And just took them all down in minutes. It was super easy. Hank Pym is saying, like, hey, if you want to go join them, you can. Like, they're doing good stuff, and they're obviously the winning side now. I don't know what we're doing, or Phoenix is about.
Yeah. I'm in giant form because I am terrified.
Yeah, I sleep this way now. It fucking sucks. They had to put an airplane tarp over me, and it's not. Either my chest is uncovered or my feet are uncovered. Either way.
If you thought the Wasp hated me before, boy, let me tell you.
Yeah, she's been doing these stretches, but they're not helping.
It's not good, fam. It's not good.
Yeah. That's why I programmed Jocasta with a walk-in vagina. It's like humidor of a vagina. I can. She says she's gonna stay. There's no place for her on Utopia because she's so damaged.
And this is where she runs into Hazmat, who is like, hey, you know all of these new, like, God Phoenix people. Do you think they could fix me? Do you think they can make me normal? And before we can get any further down that line of thinking, Stryker shows up and says, like, hey, the Sentinel's freaking out. Like, let's go look. And sure enough, the Sentinel is sounding an alarm that there's an Omega level mutant threat. And Justin is, of course, like, trying to calm everything down. Giant Man shows up in giant form, which I don't think has ever calmed a situation down ever. Like, the introduction of a 50-foot man.
Well, he pins the Sentinel down.
Yeah, that does help, I guess.
I love him just wrestling with it. Just like, because the Sentinel's grabbing everybody and is going to fly them away. Like all the students, because it's programmed to protect Justin's friends as well.
Yes.
It turns out the reason why is Emma Frost has shown up in Phoenix form. And I like, this is the first time we've seen them where they're not just like robots. Like, you can see that they're different, but a little bit of their personality comes through.
Yeah. I was kind of expecting them to be completely otherworldly. But I like the idea that the Phoenix, having been split into 5, now doesn't wholly subsume the personality of the host, right? So, like, there's a lot of Emma in this. Like, at the very moment, at the very first frame, she's like, Ant-Man's like, hello, Miss Frost, and she's like, hey, I'm Fire and Life incarnate, but you can still call me Emma. Like, just a little bit of that old school Emma Frost charm.
Well, and I love this for Emma because of anyone who's going to kind of have fun with this. I can't wait to see what Namor does with it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Colossus is going to angst. Cyclops is going to take it really seriously. Emma and Namor are going to have fun with it. And this is the Sentinels, like, designate Phoenix threat level highest, destroy all mutants, and tries to zap her. And she's like, yeah, I'm here because this is the last Sentinel. Like this guy's got to go. Justin doesn't like that though. It's his pet,
Of course.
and she makes a pretty good argument because she did show up and the Sentinel immediately did try to kill her.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it went straight to its programming. Like there is an argument that like 13-year-olds shouldn't have pet tigers. Like no matter how much you're bonded with the tiger, like maybe you shouldn't have that. Like maybe that's not a good idea for it to be around people. Like that sucks for you and the tiger. I understand that, but also it sucks less for everybody else around you.
Well, and Justin's making the same arguments everybody makes in that situation. Like, oh, he's just never seen anybody as powerful as you, making excuses for it. Like where it needed more training or more things like that. Emma is surprised to find Laura here. And one thing that bums me out, like probably the only real bummer about this week's of comics to me, is that the theme of this is basically the same as the theme of the next issue.
Yeah.
Like Emma says, oh, you don't think you can join us because you're a monster or whatever, but that's not really true. You feel really damaged. And actually I can fix that if you want. I can just zap your head and get rid of all that stuff. That's basically the climax of the next issue as well. And Christos Gage wrote both of them. And I feel like that's a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
We also learned that Wolverine has not returned to the fold. All the X-Men have come back, but Wolverine is not. So I'm really curious to see what that guy's up to.
Yes.
In the wake of this.
Absolutely. So yeah, Emma offers to like fix everything, and then Laura is just like, no, people have been fucking with my mind for a long time. Like I don't want you touching me. And Emma's like, okay, I won't, but like I still got to kill the Sentinel. And at this point, like Laura is like, actually, I mean, it's not actually hunting mutants. Like its prime directive is just you can't remove it from the thing. So she's kind of starting to take, not take ownership, take up for the Sentinel and like kind of protect it.
Yeah. They offer a compromise. Like, what if we don't kill it? We just erase its mind. And they're like, we're not going to do this. You have, you're basically anthropomorphizing a toaster.
Yeah.
And the Sentinel then has done a countermeasure and actually manages to kind of affect Phoenix Emma.
And I like this because Hank Pym is on the mind clearing thing. He's like, let's just, let's just wipe its mind. And like the kids are kind of saying like, absolutely not. Like that's against what we consider to be like morally responsible. And when Emma tries to like, I think she puts like a bubble around Justin. That's when the Sentinel like starts attacking her and actually like damages her, which is scary.
Yeah, surprising. It's using all of its force. I love this little bit where Hank Pym is like, hey, the Phoenix is here telling us to do this. We should take this compromise. They're saying no. And he's like, Stryker's just a machine. And Stryker says, Jacasta's just a machine. Now I know why she left. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Also, Jocasta is an AI. The Sentinel isn't. Sentinels aren't AIs. They're not artificial intelligence. They just like, I think there's probably a pretty good argument that Justin is anthropomorphizing the Sentinel.
Yes.
Agreed. And I like that Hank Pym doesn't like go in angst about this. He's like, listen, say whatever you want, but I'm responsible for your safety. And this is a cosmic level threat. This thing can consume planets. I'm not going to let you get in its way, regardless of what it wants to do. Your kids, don't be stupid.
Meanwhile, Emma is just taking the Sentinel apart, like just literally like trying to just disassemble the whole thing. And Justin, as he's trapped in Giant Man's giant hand, is begging, like, please stop, don't do this. And then finishes with, I love him. And that kind of triggers Laura's memory of the puppy situation from back in the day. And that's when she claws up, says no, and then literally like swipes at Emma. Which is a shock for everybody.
Yeah.
I think nobody expected Laura to come up with swinging against Emma Frost, aka 1/5 of the Phoenix.
One of the things we haven't talked about in this issue is the art, which I think is pretty dodgy. This picture where Iron Man or Hank Pym is holding Justin, and Justin's like, "Don't do this." I hate the way his face looks.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of weird stretchy faces and weird cheek lines for no reason. And stuff like if you look at this picture of Laura where she pops claws, if they just erased all the weird lines on the face, it would look like better art.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why this artist does that.
And like anytime there's perspective, like the group shot on the next page, it just like anytime someone has to be smaller, it just they really lose all definition, and it just doesn't look that great. Like it's just, and also I don't know some of these people. Like they've got like a lot of these people haven't talked. It's always something that really frustrates me is when you have people in the frame that are just not doing anything.
Yep. They've just been hanging out. Like it's not a war crime or anything, but it's pretty dodgy.
No. This is certainly not even the worst thing we've covered for the podcast. Like this is, I mean, this looks okay. It's just, you know, less good than a million Mr. Sinisters.
Yeah. And this is what convinces Hank Pym, you know, to stand up. He's like, you know, what the hell? You know, if you want to get the Sentinel, you're gonna have to go through us. And that's gonna start our crossover here, our next storyline, where Emma Frost obliterates this entire team in one frame.
Absolutely.
And then we spend the rest of the thing with her vibing in the media room.
The only way this is if Emma Frost gets bored, right? Like someone's going to attack Cyclops and she's going to be like, okay, I'll be back in a little while as soon as I go take care of my boyfriend. Like I got to go take care of the PF and then I'll be right back. But this is good. I like the fact, I like dealing with the idea of, you know, is this Sentinel bad? Does it deserve to be annihilated? And like actually kind of leaving that relatively ambiguous. Like is the fact that Justin loves it worth saving it? And I think that's a really interesting question. They don't do a lot of exploration with that, but it's enough to get me going into this whole idea of what are these Phoenix people doing and how are people reacting to them. So
yeah, it's cool. The cover for the next one is great, with Emma creating a throne out of the crumbled Sentinel and looking at all the world like a villain.
Yeah, hell yeah.
The idea of Emma, you know, who has tarried with being a villain so often, with her, the temptation of having this power being a lot for her, I think is cool. So pretty excited about it. Good comic.
I very rarely read the letters page, but I caught when I was looking at the cover, right next to it is the editor saying, "Wow, Daniel, I'm sorry that you felt that way." And Daniel is just complaining about how Hercules was portrayed as kind of a party guy. And I just think that's really funny because that's one of the highlights of this book so far has been Hercules.
Yeah. Wuss. Weirdo. I'm going to give Daniel a copy of that. It's very long.
Yeah, don't read it. Don't waste your time. Like I just very quickly skimmed it. Yeah.
I can't help it. It's right there.
To characterize Herc in this fashion is degrading to his character.
Hold up. Then the answer, Hercules has never been portrayed as someone who is a sexual predator. What? Who brought that up?
Maybe we didn't read this book. I don't know.
Oh, the Daniel guy thinks that that's how they're portraying Hercules. He insists on strapping young lads wrestling naked, so they're calling him a pedophile.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
And they're just like, hey, he's not a pedophile. Like, that's how people used to do things in ancient Greece. The early Olympics.
Wow. I just saw I'm upset about Hercules. And yeah, wow.
Yeah. The word gymnasium comes from the Greek, the place where you are naked. Trust me, I speak Greek! ! Well,
okay.
There's a little peek into QAnon 10 years early, where it's going to be all about saving the the moloid children.
What a way to end an episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you, like us, do not think that Hercules is being portrayed as a pedophile, you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and give us some money. That supports not only this podcast, but a whole network of podcasts on Duckfeed, including Watch Out for Fireballs, where Gary and Cole do really in-depth dives into all things video games. And just a bunch of other stuff too. So go check all of that out. Leave ratings, reviews. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dogs. We need more dog listeners. Our dog listenership has been low this year, Gary. We need to bring it back up. Next quarter, increase the dogs.
Play this for dogs.
Amazon.
Yeah.
What is the thing?
Amazon. Alexa, play this for dogs.
Yes. We just played Pitbull in someone's living room. So congratulations.
God damn it.
We'll be back next week with X-Men Legacy.